Hello everybody. In today's lesson, we are going to be dealing with the area rule. Now, when we use the area rule, we usually need to consider the following factors, right? If we have two sides, right, let's say C and B in this triangle, okay, and we want to determine what is area or area, the angle between these two sides is also involved in the problem, then we will use the area rule, okay? So let's put that into an equation now, right? Area is represented by A, and we find the area of triangle ABC, right? So triangle ABC. This is just going to be equal to, remember that the area of a triangle is just a half base times height. So which means it'll be a half. For this one, it'll be a half multiplied by the two sides, which is going to be B. So I'm rather going to write it like this. B multiplied by C multiplied by the sine of the angle in between, which is going to be angle A. Okay? So it'll look something like this. For the next one, right? Okay, so that was in the case of angle A. What about angle B? Now remember what I said? The two sides need to be, or the angle B needs to be between two sides, and that is A and C, right? So if we're dealing with B, then therefore the area of triangle ABC is just going to be equal to a half A times C multiplied by the sine of angle B. Okay. And then if we're trying to find maybe let's say angle C, or if we have angle C involved in that case over here, then therefore we are going to use the two sides that it's between, and then we're going to say that the area of triangle ABC is just going to be equal to a half multiplied by A multiplied by B, right? It's the two sides that are circled, multiplied by the sine of angle C. Okay. So this is how we look at area rule whenever we have two sides with an angle between it within our problem. So let's look at examples to actually see how we deal with this. So for this one, it says here, example 1, find the area of the triangles below. So this is the first one, it's number 8. So we give it a triangle ABC, right? And the angle at angle A is going to be 30 degrees. And the sides between it is going to be 6 and 8. And then the opposite side is A. But remember, we need to find the area of the triangles. So we want to use area rule in this case. Why? Because notice, we have an angle between two sides that we know. And we also know the angle, right? So therefore, what formula are we going to use? We're going to use the area of triangle ABC is just equal to a half multiplied by the two sides that the angle is between, which is going to be B times C, or you could say 6 times 8, obviously, because we know it. So 6 times 8 multiplied by the sine of the angle between, which is going to be 30 degrees. Okay. And then therefore, the area of the triangle ABC is just going to be equal to, if you plug it all in the calculator, you're going to get the following. Well, you don't actually have to plug it in the calculator, but also if you do plug it in the calculator, you will get 12. It's just quicker if you do it like this, because when you're in an examination, I would say that it's best to use a calculator because it's going to save you a lot of time. Otherwise, it's going to be 12 units, by the way. Whenever we're dealing with actual area problems and maybe problem solving or real world problems, we need to make sure we have units involved. In this case, we don't have centimeters or meters, whatever metrics we're using. However, if there's nothing else that is indicated, we'll say units as a default. Okay. Here's the next one, number B. We have triangle ABC, and notice that they give us two sides, which is 25 centimeters and 21 centimeters. And they give us two angles, which are 20 degrees and 23 degrees. But remember, we need to find the area of this triangle using the area rule. Now remember, we need to know what the angle is between the two known sides in the area rule. Notice they give us two sides, but we don't know what angle A is. However, we know what these two angles are, meaning we need to know that the angles in a triangle all add up. to 180 degrees, right? The sum of all angles in a triangle is equal to 180 degrees. So 180 degrees, or let's rather say it in that order, angle A is angle A plus 20 degrees plus 23 degrees must be equal to 180 degrees if we add them all together. What's the reason? It's the sum of sum of angles in the triangle, okay? Sum of angles in triangle. That is the reason. And then from here, we need to solve for A. So A is just equal to, we take the 20 and the 23 over, so it's 180 degrees minus 20 degrees minus 23 degrees. And then from here, angle A is just going to be equal to 137 degrees, okay? So that is angle A. Now we know what it is. It's 137 degrees. So now we can use the area rule, okay? Remember that the area rule is us saying that the area of triangle ABC, that is ABC, is equal to a half times the two sides that we know with the angle between it. So it's going to be 25 multiplied by 21, and we're going to multiply it by the sine of the angle between the sides, which is going to be 137 degrees. And then this is just going to simplify to approximately 179, comma, or 0.025. And it's centimeters squared. Okay, because remember that the units are going to be squared. And with this previous question, it should be units squared. Because if it was just units, then it would be perimeter. Okay, but it's area, so we're going to be multiplying the units by itself once. Okay, so this is our approximate area in this case. Okay. For this next example, we need to determine the size or sizes of A, the angle A, if triangle ABC's area is 50 centimeters squared. So in this triangle that we were given, we have the two sides. However, we don't have the angle between these sides. So the area rule can't really be used. But remember that they gave us the area, meaning instead of two variables that we need to find, we actually have have one of them, which is the area, but we don't have the angle. This is like a completely different type of question now, okay? But it's still the area rule. So we're still going to use the area rule, right? So it's going to still be in this form. The area of triangle ABC is equal to a half multiplied by, let's call this B multiplied by C times sine of angle A. Because remember, we need to find angle A. So we want to just set it up in that way, okay? So right now, we know what the area is. It's 50 centimeters squared. So let's write 50, okay? 50 is equal to a half multiplied by B times C. We know what B and C is because they give it to us. So let's say 20 multiplied by 10, okay? Multiplied by sine of angle A, which we want to find, okay? So we obviously have to just solve for A. So let's first get sine of A on its own, meaning we can simplify this. A half times 20, which is 10. 10 times 10 is 100. And obviously, if we can divide both sides by 100, we are going to get 50 over 100 on this side. So then what we are left with is sine of angle A is equal to a half. Okay, if you do the simplification. And then from here, when you are trying to solve for angle A, you are going to take the sine over, such that what we have is angle A is equal to arc sine of a half. And remember, arc sine, instead of the angle being in degrees, right, or instead of the inside of the trig function being in degrees, now it's in the form of the y value, right? It's the output, it's the other way around, the inverse, okay? So when you want to put it on the calculator, you must remember that you must press shift and then sine. Then you'll see that -1 as the exponent, So then you just say a half, and this should give you 30 degrees. Okay, so it gives you 30 degrees, yes. So angle A is equal to 30 degrees. Are we done? Not quite. Because the thing is, there is something called an ambiguous case. An ambiguous case. I want to say that properly so you can hear it, right? Ambiguous, meaning we're not 100% certain whether this is going to be an acute angle or an obtuse angle, if you get what I'm saying. Meaning, we need to use both cases of when it's an acute angle and an obtuse angle, okay? Do you notice that this is 30 degrees, meaning it is between 0 and 90, so it's acute. This one is an acute angle form. So you need to find the obtuse and the acute angle form so that we find both possible angles. You always have to do this, by the way. This is finding the possible angles, and that is why in the question it said size or sizes. So you're finding the sizes. So notice that this is the acute form. And in order to find the obtuse, so you can say or A is equal to find the obtuse, you have to just say 180 degrees minus the angle that you have already. Okay, which is 30 degrees. And then now you're going to get angle A is equal to 150 degrees. And this is now going to be the obtuse. So this is what you call the ambiguous case for area rule. And you'll actually see it show up again, but in the other rules. And that is how you answer questions in terms of area rule.